I researched a handful of programs around the Bay Area. This was the one that for me was the best fit because it incorporated the technical skills with the real world.
And I knew I wanted to get all of these certificates, which I gained 7 of them. So to do that in a 3-year time frame, I did pretty well.
Internships matter. For me, the internship I had last summer led directly to a full-time position after I got out of school.
And I'm so happy, and I'm working for myself, and I'm very fulfilled.
My name's Devlin-Martinson, and I'm the graphic designer, pre-press person at the County of Sonoma, and specifically over the reprographics department. So basically, I run a print shop, and so I'll come in the morning, and I speak with my press operators and see what's going on with their presses for the day. I'll take a look at job order of projects that are going on those presses. Generally from the day before, I'll have stuff set in the queue in the plate maker, so I'll get that machine started up, get the plates making, roll over to my desktop that I work at most of the time, and get that fired up, start looking at emails, just going through the gamut of setup for the day, see who's on my radar.
Can you tell us about your experiences at SRJC?
I went to Voc Rehab, started talking with some people about, I've been disabled for 20 years. I just want to find something that I'm good at doing. I don't know what that is yet, so, can you guys help point me in a direction? And they said, well, let's take some tests and see what you might be proficient at. And computer work kept coming up on the screen. So I said, okay, well, that kind of narrows it down. It seems obvious. I'm in a wheelchair, so working on a computer would work. And so then I just went down to the JC and started talking to people about what kind of things are there available at the JC. And initially, I thought I wanted to get into networking because I didn't really know. And graphics looked interesting, and so did web work, and so did doing desktop publishing. But I didn't really have any main focus at that point. So I just kind of decided, okay, I need to do some more testing and what have you to kind of narrow this down. And worked with some counselors, and we just kind of came up with a game plan of, maybe I should just start taking a few classes, get my feet wet. I didn't know anything about computers, so it's like, this might be the totally wrong field for me in the first place. So that's how I started, and just kind of went from there. That, was getting my feet wet, so to speak, and from there I decided, the networking classes, maybe I should try those. So I tried a few of those, and really came to find out quick that even though I understood what they were doing, it was just a little too dry for my liking, and graphics was more where it was at. So I enrolled in the HTML program first, because I thought, well, web is really where I want to go. So started taking the HTML curriculum for that certificate, and along the road I started taking the Photoshop things because it was crossed over to HTML. It's like you need to know how to use graphics, so I took Photoshop, and then that led me on to get into the Illustrator certificate. From there I met Cindy Reese, and she was like, I need a class filled. Come over and be in my InDesign class. And I knew I wanted to take some page layout and classes of that nature, and thought, well, InDesign is just as good a program as any. It's a program tied in with Photoshop and Illustrator, so got into that. And it just kind of grew from there. It seemed like the more classes I took, the more I saw other certificates that I already had half the classes taken. So if I took a couple more, I could finish that certificate too. And then I really finished up by taking your class, which was the production of web design. And from there I got into doing internships through the JC. So basically I was at the end of taking all my certificate programs, and one of the last pieces I needed was some real life experience. So it was suggested to me that I try to find an intern someplace, because You can have all the book knowledge and classroom and lab experience you want, but until you have somebody breathing down your neck saying, "Get that done," you really don't know. So, I searched a couple and I looked at a few wineries, and really nobody wanted to take a look at me. And I just, it's one of those things where you kind of get in the right place at the right time. And it just so happened one of the places I had contacted was the County of Sonoma's web team. And they called me back and said, "We have a position, it's not paid. It's you can come here and get credit. And then if you want to stay on after the credit session, then you can actually stay and work not paid, but still gain the work experience." So to go do this was perfect. It was a way to get my foot in the door someplace, get some real hands-on experience. And I couldn't have asked a better place to get on at, because the county has over 80 websites that they deal with. So on any given day, I could be working on Photoshop images, I could be working on logos for them, I could be doing HTML, I could be rewriting JavaScript for some of their dynamic HTML menus, or their dynamic link libraries, you name it. I was involved in it. So basically, I got all the work nobody else wanted to do. But that's really, and if I could say anything to any of your students that are coming in, that's really the work you want coming up. Because if you don't learn from the very bottom level of how things tick, you'll never get it. You have to learn what's the file structure that a company uses. How do you go in there and clean that stuff up? How is it that stuff migrates from one server to the other? And those were the jobs they gave me. They said, "Oh, all this stuff is over here on this server. Eliminate that, migrate that stuff over to the other server." So I'd do that. When I'd get done with that, I'd say, "What's the next job?" "Oh, we need to implement this open new browser window throughout these websites." So I got the job of going page by page, finding every place where there was a link and putting the open its own window tag around it. But that's the type of stuff you want to learn. And it just so happened that the county had a newsletter that they were farming to an outside agency for years, and they would send it over to the web team, and I would put it up on the web, but we weren't actually building it. And when I would get the file, it was this crudely created PDF that was really, it was built completely wrong for all intents and purposes. So I'd have to basically restructure the whole thing before we could put it up. And I complained about it all the time, because I was good at doing that. And they said, "Well, do you think that you could do that better?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I've got background, I've got a certificate in InDesign." And so that started the wheels going, "Oh, we've got somebody inside that knows how to work in InDesign." So they decided to pull it away from this outside source, give the job to me, and that was getting my first taste of doing a newsletter and having all full control over building it. That linked me to the department I work in now. And part of the job description for allowing me to do the newsletter was that I had to come work under this roof. Now, the current person that had my position had been here for 25 years. And as soon as I got over here, him and I just kind of clicked. And so besides doing the newsletter, he started getting me to do other little projects for him. And it didn't take long for them to pull all the county bus schedules in, because why not? If he can work in doing the newsletter, we could have him do all the bus schedules too. So anytime you ride a bus, that schedule you pick up, I was the guy that pulled that back into the county. So that just kind of got me going on that. And I think the gentleman that was working here before me, he just got to that point where he was ready to retire. And he knew that I was a confident individual, and he trained me enough that he felt good about retiring, and that I would know enough about the position that they would